Good afternoon and welcome to resumption of the September 28th, 2023 meeting of the Palm Desert City Council, successor agency to the Palm Desert Redevelopment Agency and the Palm Desert Housing Authority. May we have the roll call, please?
Councilmember Harnick,
Here.
Councilmember Nistandi,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Quintanilla,
Present.
Councilmember Truby,
Here.
Mayor Kelly,
Here.
all councils present.
We will have the Pledge of Allegiance followed by words of inspiration, and Councilmember Truby will lead us in the pledge. This week, Mayor Pro Tem Quintanilla and I were at the Student of the Month Awards organized by our local Optimist Club. And my colleagues who have had the benefit of attending these occasions know how inspirational they are to hear from young people and their dedication and resolve. We always conclude those sessions by reciting the Optimist Creed. And this week, one phrase in particular caught my attention. Promise yourself to be just as enthusiastic about the success of others as you are about your own. We are in the midst of many observances. Hispanic Heritage Month began September 15th. We have just passed the holiest days of observance in Jewish tradition. October 10th is International Mental Health Awareness Day. All of these observances remind us that our country is strongest when absolutely everyone has the equal opportunity to succeed. I am proud that Palm Desert has always embraced that value and celebrated the success of all. And I pray that this evening's decisions, as well as all our future decisions, will continue to embrace and reflect the equal success of all. Thank you. Do we have anything to report from closed session?
No reportable items from closed session, Mayor. Thank you.
We do have a significant presentation this evening, and I would invite forward all of those who are part of the mini muster program. You're just in time. We are extremely grateful to the Historical Society of Palm Desert for spearheading the annual collaboration with our fire services to bring awareness and education to youngsters at elementary schools throughout the area. And so we celebrate this with the following proclamation. Whereas during the month of October, Fire Station 33 of Western Division of Riverside County Fire Department and the Historical Society of Palm Desert and Desert Sands Unified School District train Palm Desert third grade students in fire prevention and personal safety. Whereas the Fire Prevention and Mini Muster program celebrates its 31st year. This year at Gerald Ford Elementary, Abraham Lincoln Elementary, and George Washington Charter Schools, its 26th year at James Earl Carter Elementary School, and its 18th year at Ronald Reagan Elementary School. And whereas firefighters and volunteers will continue to train Palm Desert students to maintain standards that ensure a fire-safe city for many years to come, I, on behalf of the City Council, proclaim this Fire Prevention and Mini Muster Month. This is a whole lot of work for those you see before you and for many additional volunteers, but it is so worth it because those third graders go home and they educate their parents. So that prevents future work of a much more tragic nature. So again, we say thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Fire Prevention Week is a very important week. We do a lot of PR, press, and just try to reduce preventable injuries and accidents and unfortunately deaths throughout the United States. The U.S. Fire Administration has said that there were roughly 4,000 deaths attributed to preventable fires in 2021, and that death and injury has gone up from 2012 to 2021 about 17%. So one of these days we're going to get a study together and see how the Cove communities do, because we have been doing this program for a very long time, and we are teaching these fine students to go home and make sure that their home is safe. So please go on to the if you don't have a child that's going to be in the mini muster, please go to the U.S. Fire Administration website. There's all kinds of really good information on how to prepare for emergencies and prevent fires in your homes. And we just really, really thank the council, the city, the Historical Society, and the school district for all of their help in getting these children trained up to hopefully not have a fire in their home. So thank you.
I'd like to thank the City Council for this proclamation. 1993, a lady named Jan Holman brought the mini muster program to the valley that she witnessed in Sedona, Arizona. And to date, we're about almost to 17,000 third graders that have gone through the program. So I'd like to thank everybody with CAL FIRE that's helped put on this program, and all the volunteers at Station 33 and Station 55. And all the volunteers with the Historical Society and the Desert Sands Unified School District, and all the principals, teachers, and staff, and all the third graders that have gone through the program. And this year we are adding Sacred Heart School to the list of schools. So thank you very much.
Thank you. City manager comments.
Thank you, Mayor. We do have Kevin Kalman in attendance from Desert Recreation District, and he wanted to spend a few minutes to share the plans for the building update that they recently received bids for. So I'd like to give him a few minutes to take the council and public through what that building is going to look like when it's fully improved.
Do I click? Do I say click next?
Anthony? Okay.
So first and foremost, thank you, Honorable Mayor Kelly and the members of the city council. It's a pleasure to be here. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you to the city for its ongoing support. We've been working together for a very, very, very long time. And I think this project is one of the more special projects that we've been able to collaborate on, and I'm really excited to get the dirt moving. I was also told to keep it brief, so I'm going to do my best. So for the past 50 years that the city's been here, the district, preceded the city, but we've worked together to provide parks and recreation services for the residents of Palm Desert, helping to keep them active, engaged, and to promote healthy lifestyles. The big project started in 2016 after our 2015 master plan update, and in which there was request for more fitness opportunities. And so we went to the drawing board and we came up with some plans to not only give the community center a facelift, but also to expand the usable space as it's already over-programmed. So this is the, sorry, it doesn't go backwards. There we go. One more. There we go. So this is what the community center from the outside looks like today. And after several months with the Architectural Review Committee, this is what it will look like in a few short months. Every area of the building, this is the revised floor plan. So every area of the building will be touched. The biggest areas of reconstruction will happen in the front of the building, where the existing overhangs are. The walls will be bumped out to that level to give us more room. What is the existing preschool area will be the new fitness center. And what is currently the offices will become a FAD studio or dance and exercise studio. And then that arc, currently it's public art there right now when you walk through the door. That will be the smiling faces of Desert Recreation District employees. So you don't have to look around to try and find where to go. They'll be right there in front of you. The locker rooms in both the men's and women's will be completely gutted and redone. The multipurpose room or area B, that will all be redone. All new appliances in the caterer's kitchen. Gym will be painted, racquetball courts will be painted. And I think that's the bulk of it. Where the existing fitness center is, that will actually become the offices. So it'll be kind of in the center of the building and hidden away and not right behind the front counter. So this is kind of what the front counter and the entry looks like today. And this is where we're headed. So much more inviting. You can see that the gentleman on the left who's doing bench press, glass walls, same thing with the fitness center on, or the FAD studio on the right, glass walls. So we'll be able to see everything that's going on in the building from the front counter, as well as who's going to the gymnasium and who's going to the multipurpose room. This is the current configuration of the preschool room, which will be going away with the mandatory pre-K now being done by the school districts. Our demand has dropped, and so that program will become more of an on-demand type program and less of a daily activity. And it will make way for a much larger, more spacious, and better equipped fitness facility. And then the multipurpose room, again, after 30-ish years, 29 years of heavy use, it's done. It's time. So this will all be new. The thing we're most excited about, it will have modern audio video in there for meetings and those kinds of gatherings, as well as we're redoing the ceiling with a better acoustic tile so that the sound is better. Likewise, we're doing the same thing with the gymnasium. If you've ever been at a large event in our gymnasium, it echoes and bounces off all the walls, and you really can't make out what anybody's saying over a microphone or what have you. So this gives you an idea what it'll look like when it's done and cleaned up. And then the best news is going into the bidding process, we had an engineer's estimate of a little under 12.2 million for the project. And the contracts came in at 9.4. All those contracts have been awarded and signed. And as soon as the 50th celebration is over, we will beginning mobilizing the contractors and getting the work started. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. And again, a big shout out to Mr. Hellman, Veronica, and Sean. I don't see her in the audience, but they've been a big help in moving this project along. So thank you all.
Thank you, Kevin. Any questions from council? Thank you. Thank
you.
you.
Nothing further, Mayor. Thank you.
Mayor and council member reports and requests for action, starting with Mayor Pro Tem Quintanilla.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think since the last meeting, the most important thing that we've done is some of us went to the League of Cities, and it was great to see that a lot of Palm Desert's values are already in line with what other cities are doing, and where we are ahead of the game, ahead of the curve as a region and as a city, where the priorities for the League of Cities were homelessness, public safety, housing, and sustainability. Those are things that Palm Desert has already been committed to. They discussed as an innovation to have mobile crisis units. We've already been doing that as a Coachella Valley and with our own director of social services. Let's see, what else do I have here? There was a session on collaborating with the utility company. So that was great information on how to maximize the collaboration so that our streets aren't open as frequently, which means that when we do that, it reduces the lifespan of our streets and ends up being additional challenges economically, as well as the inconvenience to our residents. In the Joint Power Authority, I learned that our city is doing very well with the investments thanks to our staff. So that was great to hear. Again, we're doing very well in a lot of areas. And the most impactful was a session on fentanyl. And as a result of that, I had a meeting with our Lieutenant Borras and Chris Escobedo regarding what we can do locally in order to amplify the resources available and make the biggest impact on our community. Knowing the amounts of funding that are available from the state is crucial. There are millions that have been accommodated and dedicated to harm reduction, prevention, treatment, law enforcement, and specific customized activities for youth. The awareness of what they're calling Fenta pills, which are illegal counterfeit drugs, where you may have somebody thinking they're just getting a knockoff Xanax that is laced with something else. And Something I don't think I had ever considered, and I'm not sure if everyone else has either, is the impact of PTSD that our first responders are experiencing from responding to some of these events. How do you get over looking at a pediatric overdose? And the ongoing efforts statewide to create additional support where our first responders now each carry 2 4-milligram units of Narcan. And sometimes people use both in one single need. So there is the request for them to now have 2 8-milligrams. And there is a lot of legislation that's in the works. So I would like to see if, as a council, as a city, we can look at how we can support these efforts, including AB 701, stiffer penalties for fentanyl, SB 10, which we've already seen as Melanie's Law, AB 1027 regarding the drug safety policies on social media platforms, and learned a lot of these kids are using Snapchat because their messages disappear and they're purchasing some of these substances through social media. AB 33, Fentanyl Misuse and Overdose Prevention Task Force. AB 472, which means that if you call in to report an overdose, you won't have any charges on you. So that means that people will be more likely to be able to call somebody help on time to reduce the likelihood of a death with an overdose. And SB 641 is the issue on, or the support for having multiple doses of Narcan. On a lighter note, I did attend the cultural resource preservation meeting as we're talking about historic buildings leading up to our 50th anniversary. And there is a request from that organization or from that committee and requesting that we look at creating a historic district, since we have a lot of homes that have been designated as historic under the Mills Act. So if there is support from my peers to explore the possibility of that.
If that's from the committee, why don't we let that come up through the committee process?
Okay, yeah, that's perfect. That was their request. And today also was the Tram 60th anniversary luncheon. So that was a great view and appreciation that we live in such a lovely geographic area. So yeah, those were some of the highlights. Another one on digital transparency, which has come up in terms of how do we notify our residents where they're being recorded and how to make them aware, because that has been an issue we've faced or heard from the public regarding privacy, and how to give the community support with rising hate crimes, which we've seen in targeting religious groups, ethnic groups, and the LGBTQIA+ community. So that is all of that I've gotten away, carried away in knowledge, opportunity, and resources at Cal Cities and locally. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Member Troopy.
Thank you. So I just attended the same Cal Cities conference, the annual conference last Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in Sacramento, along with Jan. And I just want to say it was excellent, worthwhile. Learned just a few things about some of the sessions were about emergency preparedness, which I thought was timely after the flooding we had. And basically the lesson was when it's blue skies and happy, that's when you prepare. And I think we're doing that as a city. We're taking the lessons we learned and investing in systems that'll help us prevent the next or deal with the next is. I can't prevent them. They're coming, but help deal with them. The housing, actually, one thing I thought was interesting, because the Cal Cities, by the way, is a consortium of cities send representatives to a conference. Every year we get together and talk about issues related to the city, and so much is about local control. And there's always a wrestle between local and central control. And one of the most contentious sessions was about housing and some of the things that Sacramento's insisting that is taking some of the control out of our hands. So I thought that was interesting and very worthwhile. And all in all, I just want to say thank you to the city for investing in my professional development. I think it's, it makes me a better public servant, and in turn, hopefully will benefit the citizens in Palm Desert. So I really, really appreciate the investment the city's making on my behalf. And I know there's an excellent event tonight that's called Art from the Heart. And this is put on by the Variety Club of the Desert. And it's an art expo with artists who are actually clients or students here in the Valley who are served by the Variety Club of the Desert. And it's going to be held between 5 and 7 p.m. this evening at the Chamber of Commerce office in Palm Desert. And it's a chance to, of course, make a donation, help support them, and just bring awareness to what they're doing. And they have an excellent and worthwhile program serving kids here in the desert who need help. And I know it's from 5 to 7 p.m. And I know that with the efficiency and expediency with which our mayor conducts these meetings, there's a good chance we'll be able to make it. So thank you so much.
With a little help, Councilmember Arnick.
Well, to assist in that expedient effort, I'll put this on fast forward. I just did want to mention it was September 17th through 23rd was Constitution Week. And I went along with the mayor to a ceremony that was put on by the Daughters of the American Revolution. And after reading the preamble of the Constitution, there was a bell ringing ceremony, and then our mayor spoke beautifully regarding and passionately regarding the importance and the brilliance of our Constitution. It was well worth attending, and I appreciated being there very much. Thank you. And as Councilmember Truby was talking about housing, currently there is an effort from the Southern California Association of Governments that I'm involved with, working on RHNA, RHNA is Regional Housing Needs Assessment Reform. And we need to make sure that we do a better job at allocating housing needs throughout our region so that we can do the best job for those who need housing, and making sure that everyone has the house that they can afford. And that's ongoing, and we'll continue working on it, and hopefully we'll have some success with this for the next RHNA cycle. Also, on an ongoing effort, I work with the Southern California Transformation, which is a broadband initiative, also regional. And that is every other week we have a call, and we are working to make the best use of any funds available from the federal government, from the state government, to make sure that we have access and connectivity to everyone throughout Southern California, and certainly beyond, but our effort is really looking at Southern California. And I wanted to mention that today is Good Neighbor Day, National Good Neighbor Day. And tomorrow is National Coffee Day. So you can blend the two, go to your neighbor, bring him a cup of coffee, and get to know him a little better, because we all do better when we know each other. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Councilmember Nastande.
No comments this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. And I will take the hint from Councilmember Truby and pass on adding comments myself, which brings us to 4:30. That is the appointed time, if I'm not mistaken, when we need to take up item 15B. 15B, which is the last topic on your agenda. The law requires us to address this issue at a specified time. So I will declare the public hearing open and ask for the staff report.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, I'm Anthony Mejia, City Clerk, and I'm joined with Shalice Tilton from NDC and Jim Priest of Best and Krieger. I'll be brief, as this is the same presentation from the last meeting, but Council has provided direction to move forward with establishing 5 single-member districts prior to the November 2024 election. The purpose of this public hearing is to inform the public about the process and to hear from the community about what factors should be taken into consideration when creating district maps. And the public is requested to provide input regarding communities of interest and other local factors to be considered while drafting the maps. This is a display of the current 2-district system. And when we are creating these district boundaries, these are the criteria that need to be adhered to when creating district boundaries. Of course, those include equal population and complying with the Federal Voting Rights Act. As far as state requirements, the districts must be geographically contiguous. They should minimize division of neighborhoods and communities of interest. They should be easily identifiable boundaries, and there should be a level of compactness to the district. What's prohibited is that the district should not favor or discriminate against any political party. And then once these criteria have been achieved, if there's no other difference, the council can consider respecting voters' choice, which includes the unnecessary pairing of incumbents and addressing future population growth to a limited extent. When it comes to communities of interest, we're really looking at really any issues that the residents consider to be a community of interest, but those might include school attendance areas, natural dividing areas, common issues, neighborhood activities or legislative election concerns, areas around parks and other neighborhood landmarks, and then shared demographic information as indicated below. Regarding public participation, the public's asked to provide input at any of the upcoming community workshops or public hearings. At the workshops, there will be Spanish and ASL interpreters, and at the public hearings, either Spanish or ASL interpreters are available upon request. The public is welcome to submit written comments in person or via email. They can subscribe for email updates regarding upcoming meetings by contacting me, and I would add them to the list. Subscribe or submit a draft map by the November 1st deadline for City Council consideration. And of course, I'm happy to make a presentation at any civic or community group meetings. Or if anybody needs any assistance in map drawing, I'm happy to provide some one-on-one assistance as well. The upcoming important dates are October 4th and 16th at 5 p.m. We'll have a virtual map drawing workshop to inform the community on tips on how to draft their maps. On November 16th, council will have a public hearing in which all of the maps that have been submitted will be presented to the council, and then the council will be asked to select some focus maps for further consideration. And then November 16th, there'll be a community workshop where we'll present the focus maps and ask for public comment. And on December 6th will be another community workshop in which we'll be asking the same. And just a reminder, the deadline to submit a map is November 1st. So with that, the council is requested to conduct the public hearing to receive public input and to receive and file the report on the districting process. And I'm available for any questions.
I have just one question. At the November 16th hearing to select focus maps, will we have a recommendation from our demographer about which map or maps best meet the required criteria?
The demographer will inform you whether the maps that have been submitted comply with all of the requirements. If you would like a specific recommendation from the demographer, I can certainly ask for that, but he'll at least provide you with information on whether the map complies with all the requirements.
And will the maps before us include both maps from the demographer and from the public?
Yes, all of the maps that have been submitted by the public will be presented to the council, and then the demographer will have a few of his own as well.
Thank you. Any other questions? Any public comment on this item? Please come forward and give your name.
Name is, I put it on the card because it said optional. So I put on the card about the person who is the information I'm going to speak about later. But my real name is Steve. The districting, I do live in Desert Hot Springs, and in Desert Hot Springs, they went to districting. And through my research, I really found that districting is designed to actually make it so that the council members really never have any real tough competition. And because, you know, at-large voting is, I'm guessing that's what you've been doing, right? At-large council members are voted all by the whole city. Is that right? I mean, a nod.
It's a bit more complicated, but continue.
So that, like, for example, in Desert Hot Springs, they went to districting, and it made it so that there were two that weren't going to be up for reelection, but theirs were picked right around, so that it's very complicated, but in the end, the districting really limits who is going to be competing against the council members. So I see it as a bit of a bait and switch. And I hope they don't use the Delphi technique when they do bring these maps out, because you don't know who the demographer is hearing in the ear about what needs to be shaped what way, because the lines are very strange to most people once the lines are created about the districts that are formed. And it's just, as I will use a word that young people use, it's very sketchy. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
No additional public comment, Madam Mayor.
Then the public hearing will be closed. And thank you. Returning to the agenda, this is the time for public comment on non-agenda items. Because the Brown Act requires us to give notice of anything we discuss, we won't be able to engage with you in back and forth about your topic or share our thoughts, but we may refer items for staff follow-up. Would you please give instructions to those participating virtually?
For those on Zoom, if you want to participate in public comment, please click the raise hand button on your computer or smartphone. If you're joining by calling in on your phone, please dial *9 to raise your hand. And when called upon, press *6 to unmute yourself. And please keep your comments to no more than 3 minutes and begin by stating your name for the record. Additionally, please note that the Palm Desert Municipal Code does have state that any person who engages in disorderly conduct, such as using profane language, yelling, or similar demonstrations which disturb the peace and good order of the meeting, or refuse to comply with the lawful orders of the presiding officer, may be removed from the meeting.
Thank you. That was quite clear and will be deemed a sufficient warning. Let me call upon those present first, Ms. Barbara Wasserkrug.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Barbara Wasserkrug, and I would like to thank the City Council for allowing me to speak this afternoon. As I continue my research, my focus this afternoon is the safety and security aspect of the 101 Flock artificial intelligence license plate reader and surveillance cameras surrounding Palm Desert residents. In spite of what is being told, the license plate reader information data is $1 billion industry whose client bases are mostly financial companies and lenders. These companies enlist the help of third-party vendors who gather license plate reader data from sources everywhere they can. This data is being used to track down private citizens who have become late or delinquent in their vehicle loan payments. Additionally, combating insurance scams demands cutting-edge technologies and advanced data analyst techniques. Enter license plate recognition data, a game changer in the battle against insurance fraud. Insurance companies are becoming clients of these third-party vendors to obtain information on private citizens' insurance claims by obtaining their vehicle license numbers through a license plate reader and viewing a photograph of the actual vehicle license number and any damages that are visible to help establish the validity of the submitted insurance claim. A company called Resolution.com are experts at integrating the power of the license plate reader data into their skip tracing service. In addition to placing skip tracing cases into a corporation called DRN Analytics license plate reader system, they claim to use a database of over 3 billion scans to enhance their recovery efforts. Resolution.com touts that their scan density is what makes them and set apart from competitors. Through their large network of contracted license plate reader equipped repossession agents, they have access to 150+ million plate scans every month. I find it difficult to believe that companies like Flock Safety that touts that they have extreme privacy measures already in place to protect the public, yet third-party vendors are touting just the opposite. My concern and question is, has the city really done their homework on Flock and what happens to the data of our citizens? Thank you.
Thank you. Next is David Sickman.
Dear Mayor Kelly and fellow council members, I'm here as a member of the Jewish community, as well as an active member of the Chabad of the Desert. Our mission statement is as follows. The Coachella Valley is one of the largest, most prominent, and diverse retirement and up-and-coming Jewish communities in the United States. With a variety of innovative programs, Chabad succeeds in reaching thousands of Jewish men, women, and children from various backgrounds, helping promote a stronger Jewish sense of identity throughout the year, with meaningful yet fun and engaging activities open to all. From little children and youth to college students and young professionals, the elderly and people with special needs, local, state, and federal officials in our government, as well as the business and academic communities, we're here to serve in whatever way we can. It is my honor to be here today, as we are only a few days past the Jewish high holiday of Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, and Yom Kippur. With that said, I would like to wish you the traditional blessing we give to each other, Shana Tova, a happy and sweet new year. Today, I would like to bring your attention and highlight a few wonderful current programs and upcoming events in the Jewish community. Just last year, Chabad launched the Kosher Food Club at Palm Desert High School, where we discussed culture, heritage, and history. We had over 30 students join us at our bi-weekly lunch meeting, where we meet over delicious food and meaningful discussion. Second, the Aleph Schoolhouse, our local Jewish preschool and kindergarten. We have over 30 kids part of our school, and we're excited to be proud residents of Palm Desert for over 20 years. I'd love to invite you to come visit sometime soon. We're just down the road on Santa Rosa Way. Third, in December, the Jewish community will be hosting the Jewish Heritage Night at Acrisure Arena. I invite you and everyone who would wish to join from the Coachella Valley to join the Jewish community as we celebrate Hanukkah, the holiday of light, overcoming darkness, and the story of how a small Jewish army overcame a large Greek army as we fought to protect our families, our culture, and our holy temple in Jerusalem. Thank you. May God bless you, and may you lead our community with courage, kindness, and compassion. Thank you.
Thank you. And Shana Tova. Nancy Gutierrez.
Good afternoon. Thank you again for allowing us to speak today. I did want to have some material. I don't know if I give it to you now. Hi, my name is Nancy Gutierrez, and I live here in Palm Desert. I wanted to ask again that the Palm Desert City Council add to the upcoming agenda a ban on any future mask and vaccine mandates. No human being should be forced or coerced to take an experimental drug, nor be coerced to wear a covering over their mouth that impedes breathing while increasing chronic health risks, which have never been studied. Face masks pose serious health risk. Doctors have established there is no scientific evidence showing that the wearing of a face mask will provide protection to any virus, and that there are dangers to wearing a face mask, especially wearing them for long periods of time, which have never been studied. These significant health risks include headaches, increased airway resistance, fall in blood oxygen levels, carbon dioxide accumulation, serious life-threatening complications. In fact, wearing a mask day in and day out puts individuals at high risk for respiratory infections, rebreathing bacteria, and other pathogens. Dated the 27th of this month, Los Angeles schools dropped COVID vaccine mandate. I included some other material here, the harm caused by masks. Evidence continues to mount that mask mandates were perhaps the worst public health intervention in modern American history. This is according to a new study from Germany that does just that. And it suggests that excess carbon dioxide breathed in by mask wearers may have substantial ill effects on their health, and in the case of pregnant women, their unborn children's. The German study's scope and review of existing research aimed to investigate the toxicological effects of face masks in terms of carbon dioxide rebreathing on developing life, specifically for pregnant women, children, and adolescents. The latter two groups, of course, have been among those most frequently subjected to mask mandates. I wanted to include that mask wearers breathe in greater amounts of air that should have been expelled from their bodies and released out into the open. While 8 times the normal level of carbon dioxide is toxic, research suggests that mask wearers, specifically those who wear masks for more than 5 minutes at a time, are breathing in 35 to 80 times the normal levels. And I'm probably going to be cut off here. But the US Navy, for their female crew, they do not allow more than 0.8% carbon dioxide because of that reason, because they have animal studies that prove this, along with other
Your time
dangerous
has
implications.
indeed expired, but we will receive your materials.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time.
And I'm not sure about the printing on the last name, Rosa Court.
Put that name because I found it unusual that it was optional. If I didn't put a name, how would you call me? I'm serious. I haven't started my 3 minutes. I'm just, at first.
Oh, yes, start the 3 minutes.
Okay. So let's be real here. A lot of this is fake. I mean, once you really get what's really going on in the world, you talked about local control, but local control is really not local control because there are groups above you dictating what you have to do. You all have to get up to speed at some point with each other in a lot of different things. You spoke about the arena numbers. I mean, Desert Hot Springs, they want to put 4,000 in there, and each home is going to cost like $700,000 to build. It's all fake. I mean, you spoke about funding, Mayor Pro Tem, you spoke about funding, but the funding, it's just grant money that you just keep asking for. I mean, no one in real life lives like that. So a lot of this is phony, what's going on. And I'm going to segue to everything is planned out. That's what, when you talk about local control, it's not really local control because it's central planning coming down. And, you give an update on the meeting, but you don't talk about who is there to update you on what you have to get done. So the central planning is the problem. They're not waiting for us to move. As the public, we're not just standing here and you're going, what do you guys want to do next? No, it's all led. Public is led the direction you want us to go, because unfortunately people don't really get involved. So the powers that be figured out that it's just easier just to make them think that it was their idea. I brought this poster because about 10 years ago, I stood at rallies and talked about what was called Agenda 21. It's called, you are going to lose your private property. And there's plenty of talk today about people losing their private property. Cars, they say that this was 10 years ago. And by the way, it goes back to 1987. Okay. George H.W. Bush signed us into with 178 other nations called Agenda 21, the agenda for the 21st century. Considered unsustainable under this plan, Maurice Strong developed the plan, middle-class lifestyle, single-family homes, private vehicles, eating meat, air conditioning, appliances, dams, and tillage. And where are we at today? Now, you want to talk about how you kind of imply that, whatever you want to do is what we're here to do for you, but it's not that way. Because at this point, we're seeing World Economic Forum calls to reduce private vehicles by eliminating ownership. It's happening. They limit it on streets. Palm Springs is probably going to take Indian Canyon or Palm Canyon and make it no cars. At some point, it all just keeps creeping, but people don't see it because it doesn't happen overnight. You've got meat monopolies, mega farms, how the US food system fuels climate crisis. So they're going to get rid of farming here. Dams, there's 2 dams. By the end of 2024, 4 aging hydroelectric dams spanning the California-Oregon state line will be gone. It's all a plan, folks, and they're following it.
We have any requests to speak online?
No, Madam Mayor.
Then we will move to consent calendar. Any requests for public comment on the consent calendar?
No, Madam Mayor.
Any requests to remove items?
Mayor, I have to recuse myself on item 13, F as in Frank.
Noting that we have a motion to pass consent,
I second the motion.
and I moved it. Let's vote.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Moving to item 14A, a long-awaited item for those of us who have served some years on council. Approve an agreement with Kingdom Causes DPA City Net for city homeless outreach and engagement services. May we have the staff report?
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. Jason Austin, your Social Services Coordinator. Very happy to be here. Today, I'm going to talk about our, for your consideration, contract with CityNet for homeless street outreach services. To give you a little background, as we all remember, the city has previously contracted with the County Hope Team for street outreach services since 2019. At the last homeless task force meeting here in the city, we had discussed as part of the city's task force action and overall plan for the year to put the idea of street outreach services out for an RFP to engage the community and see other providers to provide street outreach services on a more regular basis. So as of July, we released the RFP. In August, we had received our RFPs to consider and have moved CityNet forward as our identified vendor. What's exciting, I think, about this new potential street outreach contract is that we're able to use opioid settlement funds as one of the eligible uses determined by the settlement agreements to be able to fund partial parts of this program. And so the opioid settlements that we have opted in at as a city, there are 2 settlement agreements. The first one was in 2021. The second one was just this past April. The first one was about $1.3 million over 18 years. The second one is $1.1 million over 15 years. So what that does is it allocates a certain amount of money every year for us to do to fund different kinds of programs to address homelessness, to address different kinds of eligible uses. So in the design of our RFP, we put out that we are focused on engaging the community for street outreach, to look at housing development plans, to look at linking people to shelter, but also to engage people to link them to mental health and substance use programs and treatment. And that was in the overall design of our CityNet contract. Can you go to the next slide? So what does CityNet do? CityNet is focused on providing street outreach services to engage people where they are, to be able to provide that linkage to different kinds of services. They develop housing plans. They focus on outreach and engagement. Outreach is providing that street connection to develop trust, to be able to get address basic needs, hunger, clothing, linkage to initial basic needs services, and then engagement, which is more direct overall enrolled case management to develop those housing plans, to be able to get people off the streets, to be able to make use of housing services, to use shelter services, and hopefully get people linked to those treatment programs that are also very important in what we're trying to engage and assist people in their overall health. So as part of the presentation today, I've invited CityNet, and I have Jessica Avalar-Bruce, the Chief Program Officer from CityNet, to come introduce herself, introduce CityNet to the city. It's part of our system of care family, and she will come up and talk for a very brief introductions.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Mayor Pro Temp, and members of council. My name is Jessica Avalar-Bruce, and I'm the Chief Program Officer with CityNet. CityNet was established in 2003 in the city of Long Beach, California. We started as a community mobilization organization, and then from there, started to bring on new services such as street outreach. We are now a full spectrum organization, from street outreach to shelter, rapid rehousing, permanent supportive housing, and censuses. Our experience is we are a statewide organization from all the way from Sacramento, all the way down to the Chula Vista border. And we work in 7 counties across the state. We are currently working, have 12 contracts in the county of Riverside and are looking forward to adding Palm Desert to a city we'll be serving. This really means a lot to my heart because my parents and my in-laws both live in your city. So I'm excited to be here to serve where my parents are living their life. Our philosophy is we are committed to breaking the cycle of homelessness by connecting unhoused neighbors to transformative care and innovative housing solutions. We currently are an organization of over 250 employees across the state, and we'll be adding 2 full-time case managers to your city with a supervisor to be out on the streets 5 days a week serving your unhoused population. We are a data-driven organization, so we're really excited to be able to come into your city and collect data so you have an understanding of homelessness and what's occurring on your streets. We'll be utilizing the homeless management information system that the county provides to collect all of the data, and we will be connecting all of the clients to the coordinated entry system to hopefully get all of our clients from the streets of Palm Desert housed as quickly as possible. You'll receive a monthly dashboard every month that will show the data of what we're collecting on the streets and what the activities you will be seeing. We look forward to bringing success stories and you're seeing your numbers in your city go down as we start to serve. Thank you.
Before I take questions, is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, questions from council. We'll start with Councilmember Harnick and Councilmember Nastande. Stay forward, Jessica, because you might be able to help.
Okay, I have a couple questions. And I'm happy to hear about the monthly dashboard because I know we're all asked by the community members about the homelessness situation and our progress, and it'll be great to have that information. I do have a couple questions, and one is, can the CDBG grant funds be used to fund this in the future? Perhaps, and you may not have that answer, but it seems like a viable solution. I don't know.
We could definitely explore other funding sources, but between the opioid settlement funds and PLHA, we're able to completely fund what we are asking for approval on today.
Okay, and my other question is, looking at the section under collaboration, you list a number of agencies with whom you're collaborating, and that's great. I didn't see the Riverside County Sheriff, and having gone on a ride along with the sheriff specifically to learn more about homelessness and watching them and how really compassionately and empathetically they deal with the homeless. They seem like a natural partner, and I think it makes sense. So I hope that we can explore that option as we go forward.
Absolutely. So part of my role is to bring them in and to introduce them and connect them to all the people that we already have as part of our amazing response system here in the city. And so we've already discussed with our sheriff team about when the staff come in, connecting them, doing ride-alongs. And these 2 staff that City Now will be bringing will be a resource to the sheriffs, so that when they engage anyone wherever they are in Palm Desert, they can call them. And that's what's great about having the 2 staff specifically for street outreach, so that they can respond in the moment when they connect with people. So it's not about making follow-up appointments or trying to find them like 3 to 6 hours later. It's in the moment. How do we engage people and start to build that trust?
Could I just do a happy dance?
Yeah. Why am I?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm not surprised that you've already started on that. So thank you very much. And it's wonderful that under your performance objectives, you have measurable goals. And I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Councilmember Nastande.
Yes, thank you. I'm very excited for this program. Ever since I've been on the council, homelessness has been an issue, and we've seen some companies come and go trying to tackle it. So it's not an easy issue by any means, but I'm really impressed with what I see. And then in terms of the city of Palm Desert, we're more of a region, right? So some of these homeless people that have been identified, they might, another day go to Cathedral City or a different city. How is that going to work?
It really depends on when you meet someone, where they are in that moment in that day.
Mhm.
So if somebody were engaged in discussing what's going on with this person right now. That's part of that developing a safe, trusting relationship. Where do you spend your day? You typically, a lot of the coordinated entry questions are, where did you sleep last night? And so that's how they get to know where this person is really experiencing homelessness. If they're kind of regionally up and down, maybe it's a question of joint coordination and collaboration with the county's Home Connect team and our CityNet team. But the difference is that we have the staff here 5 days a week, being able to engage wherever that person is in that moment. And then whatever the next steps are and whoever they connect them to, whether it's us and our team here, or if it's a joint collaboration with the county who's more regional, we have the ability to make those determinations.
And then for the ones that are experiencing mental illness, drug addiction, what facility or where are they going to go if they're willing to get help?
So what we've been discussing, I have the mental health background as a therapist, and talking with CityNet in negotiations, what we think will make the most sense is to be able to use different kinds of screeners, SBIRT, the DAS-10, things that will screen people's level of substance use and mental health conditions. And so that will be able to give us some determination about where are we looking to link and connect someone. So do they need outpatient clinic treatment? So using the county's system, or will they best be served by a detox program? Will they be best served through a physical health program through IEHP? So our job is to come up with that screening process and then connect people right in the moment so that we can get them to that next step.
That's fantastic. Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
I have a quick question, and I'll explain to those listening why I wanted to do a happy dance. You know, for some years, we strove to accomplish this contracting through the county's social services. And for a variety of reasons, that didn't achieve our goals. So it is music to my ears to hear the commitment for real-time response. My quick question is, there's discussion in the staff report that the funding sources, particularly the opioid settlement, require an emphasis on addiction, those suffering from addiction or mental health issues. We know the truth of the adage, if mental health issues don't cause homelessness, homelessness will cause mental health issues. So, meaning that everyone who's homeless is at risk, enhanced risk of addiction or mental health issues. So, will we be able to construe the guidelines broadly so as to assist all who are experiencing that enhanced risk, even if they might not yet present those symptoms?
Absolutely. And the other nice part about having a bit of a braided funding is that the opioid settlement funds fund about half, and as the funding grows over the next couple of years, maybe a little bit more than that. But because we also have PLHA in the mix, we serve everybody. And so our job is to engage people and link them and get them connected to whatever that next step is: shelter, housing plans, treatment, services.
Thank you. Any other questions, or may we take a motion?
I'll move the item as presented.
I will second that motion.
Please vote.
Motion passes 5-0.
Welcome. And that brings us to item 15A, which is also a public hearing. Housing and Urban Development, Community Development Block Grant Public Hearing to receive public comments on fiscal year 22-23 Comprehensive Annual Performance and Evaluation Report. I will open the public hearing.
What a perfect segue. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of City Council. My name is Joe Barron. I'm the Contracts and Grants Analyst in the Finance Department. And tonight's hearing is necessary to give the public an opportunity to voice their opinion on the city's program year 2022-2023 consolidated annual performance and evaluation of our community development block grant program. Say that 10 times. All right. Our CDBG program provides eligible jurisdictions federal funds to address the needs of low and moderate income residents, allows for neighborhood improvements, and helps address urgent needs. During the program year, we expended $106,604 of the CDBG funds and $36,692 of the CDBG COVID funds. With these funds, we were able to directly serve 399 people by providing them with access to services they otherwise would not have or receive, including access to fair housing mediation and preventing homelessness. Out of 399, 100% of the persons served fell below the 80% of the poverty line, which means we're aligning our funding appropriately, and we are effectively providing services to our targeted demographics. This concludes my presentation this evening. At this time, I'm available to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Any public comment?
No public comment, Madam Mayor?
And then I will close the public hearing. Is any action required from council, or does the public hearing discharge our responsibilities?
Just for belts and suspenders, if we could have a motion to receive and file the report.
A motion to receive and file?
I'll second.
Please vote.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. That concludes our business for this evening. Oh, now that the business is concluded, I do want to feature for everyone that the Chamber of Commerce, the Palm Desert Area Chamber of Commerce, did a superb job last evening recognizing approximately 14 award recipients for their excellence. And the Palm Desert staff person acknowledged this year for excellence that really reflects our entire staff is Jessica Gonzalez. So let's Jessica is our housing manager, who is a key person in making sure that anyone who needs a home receives a home. So thank you, Jessica.